What up guys, and welcome to another CNFT market update video. A video where I go over the overall health in the Cardano NFT market, the top 10 biggest movers this week when it comes to volume, and some other projects that are personally on my radar or that have recently announced or released some sort of information. But yeah, without further ado guys, let's get into it. First things first guys, how does the overall market look like when it comes to volume, and what's kind of my strategy to navigate the market right now? And it comes to no surprise to me, but we have fallen off from those super high peaks of volume that we had in mid to late October. If you guys weren't aware, the Vassal hard fork, as well as CNFT Con, as well as Ape Society frames, as well as Solana going royalty free, kind of all happened at the same exact time, and it made a perfect storm for the Cardano NFT market. And we went from having about 800,000 to about 1.5 million ADA in transactions a day. It was actually even lower if you zoom out just a little bit further when we were really in that 400 to 600,000 ADA range back in September. And then all of a sudden, all of these perfect storms kind of collided, and we went on a massive run when it comes to the market. We had days of 2 million, 3 million, 4.4 million one day, which was actually the peak volume of all Cardano NFT history. And if you watched Blake's CNFT, he actually talked about how it wasn't just new people coming in, but it was a lot of returning buyers as well. Maybe people that kind of got bored with the ecosystem. There wasn't really much happening, and then they saw things exploding, and then they decided to get back in. Since then, we have been going on a steady decline, but we're still averaging about 1 to 1.5 million ADA a day, which is about 3 to 4 times higher than we were about a month and a half, 2 months ago. So I do like to see this, even especially when you compare it to Ethereum and Solana, which have been getting hit pretty hard as far as volume. A lot of their volume has dropped, especially since Solana is now royalty free, guys, until they can figure out how to enforce it. And even on Ethereum, they're having a problem with a new marketplace coming out that's also not enforcing royalties. So right now, I think Cardano is a great option for different people from other blockchains to come in. One thing that we do have to realize, guys, is that Cardano can't enforce royalties on a blockchain level either yet, unless some creative solution happens. So something to keep our eyes on. We definitely don't want to go the free marketplace route where we don't have any royalties at all. I know there's a lot of different opinions on this. Some people think it's greedy for, creators, whatever the case is. But we've been able to see the negative impacts that has on those blockchains, and it wouldn't be smart for this to happen on Cardano as well. Now, what am I personally doing when it comes to this market right now? And really the answer is, guys, is a lot of mints recently have been minting out, and a decent amount have been good quick flips, but to be honest, a lot of this volume is starting to slow down, and I don't think it's going to be the case for too much longer unless we see a lot more volume start to go into the ecosystem again. You start to have a little bit of minting fatigue. We had Goat Tribe launch 10,000 NFTs at 1 million ADA. Oremob had about 2.5 million ADA. We had Book of Ikigai that just released recently for 500,000 ADA. As I'm recording this, Unbothered Wolves is also taking more ADA out of the ecosystem. So there's just so many projects minting again in this period, and I'm sure that those things are going to slow down. But right now, I'm kind of minting some things that I think is going to do well, quick flipping a lot of stuff, and then putting a lot of that money back into projects that I believe are going to be successful long-term, or looking for that next swing trade. Another quick note that I wanted to bring up too before going over the top 10 movers of this week is to take a look at some of these different DeFi projects or NFT coins that are coming out on the Cardano ecosystem. If you're a believer in Cardano, then you have to be a believer in the DeFi eventually. You can't have a chain where there's no projects building on it and there's not any money flow coming into the chain, right? Right now, there's very little TVL in the chain. Vassal hard fork allowed for a lot of these projects to start developing and releasing new stuff. And I do think it's a matter of time for people to really find Cardano and for that money to really flow in. And if you look at some of the top projects right now, guys, a lot of them are really small. LQ, which is about to go down a lot soon, in my opinion, because of their tokenomics, they're only sitting at a 1.21 billion ADA market cap. I don't know what that is in US dollars right now, maybe 500 million. Maybe I'm way off right now because I can't think. But regardless, these are really small market caps when compared to a lot of other projects out there and a lot of other blockchains and their tokens. And even things that are releasing from NFTs like Clay Nation, the Clay token, have a lot of upside potential because they're still very small right now. And if we do get a lot of more money flowing into this ecosystem, I would expect some of these to pop off. Now, the big thing is Cardano DeFi going to pop off? That's one of the risks with this. One of the other risks is that these are very volatile, so they can go up and down like crazy, and there isn't a lot of volume happening on the chain yet. And some of these might be projects that never end up succeeding. So it's important to do your research, but I just figured I'd bring this up so people can start paying attention to it at least, and maybe learning a little bit more about the Cardano DeFi ecosystem. Now on to the top 10 projects of the week, guys, when it comes to overall volume. At number 1, we have Oremob, which should come at no surprise. They've literally had over 3 million ADA worth of volume in like a week. Absolutely ridiculous. Definitely record setting. Number 2, we have Ape Society. Number 3, we have Cabins by Ape Society at 360,000 ADA. 4, we have Book of Ikigai, which just came out, as well as Clayaveras, which just came out as well, sitting at 350,000 ADA. We then have The Bibles by Book Token at 6, Clay Nation at 7, Spacebudz rocking number 8. Number 9 actually is Chilled Kongs now. And then at number 10, we have the Cornucopias land sale. First project on the list, guys, is Oremob. Now, Oremob released not even 2 weeks ago, and they already have 3.64 million ADA worth of volume, which is absolutely ridiculous. And it's kind of a crazy story with Oremob for me, where I went from loving the project when they were on the Discord VC. I was like, oh my God, this guy knows what he's doing. He started successful businesses. I'm bullish on this. I think the art looks cool. To me being like, whoa, 2.5 million ADA, like that's a lot of ADA, especially in the market we're in right now. And then all of a sudden the mint went wrong. And then there was no communication. I was like, yeah, I'm probably going to have to stick away from this one, or at least be on the sidelines, especially since just art projects don't do too well. Now, what's really interesting about Oremob though, is I wish I really dissected how they put these art pieces together a little bit earlier on. And what was interesting is on their mint day, when they had sold their 4,000 in the whitelist, which was the charm rings as well as the burner phones, I was like, oh my gosh, there's already 500,000 volume on this project, and they haven't even minted out their whole collection yet. And I'm over here seeing stuff sell for 2,000-3,000 ADA already. So luckily, anyone that was in the Block investment group, we all hopped on the Discord VC, and we were like, yo, I think this is actually a project we should mint. I had minted a decent amount, and I'm still holding like 23 of them right now. A lot of them are elites. A lot of them are, good ones with mask. And the reason I actually decided to hold these, and why I regret selling some of them early, is I actually think this is one of the most intricate and well put together projects as far as the art goes. And I could make a whole video going through all these different mobs where it's these different families and going over the ranks and all these different masks. But what's really interesting to me, guys, is a lot of the different layers and accessories are dependent on other traits being present. So for example, the mob, the Harajuku babies, there are specific traits such as this flame background that only that specific mob can have, and there might be some other traits in there that it has to be that mob in order to actually have them. And when you dissect these different traits, guys, I mean, the amount of time that must have gone into this collection is crazy, but they have a bunch of traits that only show up once or twice in the whole entire 10,000 NFT collection. And like I said, I'm usually not an art guy. I'm a very utility guy. I'm a very numbers guy. But this project, for whatever reason, the intricacies of how they put this together in not a simple meta generation way where there were all these different intricacies really got me interested in the project. And I personally think that a lot of projects are going to do bad over time. I think a lot of brand-based projects aren't going to succeed, but there are going to be a few that succeed, and Oremob has that potential for me. I'm not really sure what it is, but there's something about the way the art looks and the way they had already established the brand of 180,000 Instagram followers and how these different pieces go together, that I think it has long-term potential as long as the team is willing to grind and really put a lot of time into the project. I know they have their rankings coming out tomorrow on Friday, so you might see a sell-off after those rankings come out, or you might see some additional buys. Who knows? Usually you do see a dip, and I know that as far as utility, they're going to do some casings for other projects, and they're going to charge a fee for that. If you're not aware, guys, they already had a couple different collections where they are already sporting these casings. So I know they're going to do something like this in the future for other projects. But yeah, something to keep an eye on. Like I said, I'm just holding the ones I have now. All of them are completely in the profit for me just holding them. So I'm just going to hold them. I actually do like this art. I do like the way it feels. And yeah, maybe if it goes down lower, like if it gets into the boring phase where it gets down to like 300, for example, that would definitely be a time that I buy some more. Right now, though, they're still topping the volume charts, which means there's still too many eyes on it for me. So I'm going to keep this one in the background. I'm going to see once volume calms down in a couple weeks, a month, whatever the case is, when it's not the main display, how well it's still doing. And at that point, maybe I buy a couple more, or maybe I just hold on to the ones I have. Yeah, interesting though. Very impressed with them overall. We'll see how much they deliver on the NFT management side of things, but so far it looks pretty solid. Next thing here, Ape Society. Now, Ape Society went on a crazy run with the whole society token thing. I said in my last video, I was a little worried how sustainable that society token is going to be. And as you saw, guys, the society token went from 0.35 or I believe it's 0.35 all the way down to about 0.16. So it did drop by about 50%. And then we had these actual apes drop from 16 to about 8.5 after that had happened as well, because now there is a correlation to the amount of money you're making with these apes and the value of those apes. Now they're still holding an immense floor of over 9,000. I'm very impressed with this. And they actually just came out with their second landmark, which is the factory. Now the factory is going to be a whole entire project launchpad and incubator. It's actually what we're going to be doing in the Block Investment Group as well. Maybe in the next 2 months, we're going to have it set up. Now, how they're doing this is going to be a little bit different than how we're going to do it, but basically projects are going to be able to apply for this. Once they apply, they can get chosen, and then they're going to have 2 different packages. One of the packages, they just pay 16% of their mint, and they don't really get any consulting or things like that, but they get the exposure of launching through Ape Society. And then the second package here is going to add on consulting, and this is going to bring up that total percent to 20%. Now, I think this is a really high percentage personally. You know, like we're minting Jellycubes in a couple months. For me, like this is just too high of a percentage, especially with the amount of ADA that we're making. But there might be other projects out there that are like, hey, you know, I'm making an additional 20% here by launching through them. So it kind of balances it out. So pretty interesting. I do think there's a demand for this sort of service. And that's why we're personally going to be doing it too, albeit in a little bit different of a way. Now, what's interesting is the cabins also went up a lot during this time, because if you notice kind of the breakdown structure, guys, a percentage of these revenues generated from this are going to go to cabin holders that are in that district. So pretty cool. And they're also trying to take some of that money and they're trying to put it back into their LP to get more liquidity and things like that. So pretty cool. Next project here is the book of Ikigai, and they just released. Now, it's kind of funny. I just recently found out about what Ikigai is. I'd recommend checking out a video of what Ikigai is because it's kind of cool. It's all about, you know, how to use your passions and what you're good at and different things to get to Ikigai, which is like this place of fulfillment and what you do and what your life is. But yeah, they released this project for about, I think, 99 ADA, and right now it's sitting at 44 ADA. As far as this project goes, it is more of an art community thing, but they're trying to make a brand out of this and make a lot of virtual merchandise that they then can make physical. So pretty cool. They also have an Ethereum airdrop happening in the future. I think you have to own 3 of these guys. I personally don't have any right now, but it's something to pay attention to. I think Maria and Peppers are going to be pretty determined into making this project successful, but right now I'm just kind of sitting on the sidelines. Next thing here is Clayaveras, another project that just released. I think Clayaveras looked decently cool, and they actually did go to CNFTCon before they even released their project. Now, when it comes to these Clayaveras, I can tell that the team is trying very hard in the Discord to do everything they can, but I also see a lack of experience and them kind of playing things by ear a little bit. I think that they don't really know or understand the space to a very in-depth level. So personally, I'm not invested in this project. Shout out to their team, though. They are trying their best, it seems. And like I said, they literally went to CNFTCon before they were released, and a lot of major projects in this ecosystem didn't go to CNFTCon at all. So big shout out to them for that. Next thing here are the Gutenberg Bibles by Book Token. Now, I'm still a little bit iffy when it comes to this whole entire book token. I really want to sit down and talk to the founders of the project and just learn a little bit more about the direction they're trying to take with things. One thing to point out, though, is that they've constantly been prioritizing their Gutenberg Bibles, and if book token is something that's successful in the future and people actually care about it, I'm guessing these Bibles are going to be the holy grail, no pun intended, for you to own. Now, what's really cool is the remaining supply just went out, and that's why we saw a dip from 1,800 all the way down to 750 now. Once again, this was probably a situation where you would have been better off selling before that actual airdrop happened. But because of that, guys, there's now a buying opportunity if you're bullish on this project, if you're bullish on this collection. A lot of people are dumping those extra Bibles that they got, and maybe if you pick some of these up now, and if you're a big believer, maybe in the future, if one of their books are going to do good, this is probably going to be the book, and right now would be the best buying opportunity for that just because all that new supply came in. Next thing here, Spacebudz. Now, Spacebudz went from about 2,800 to 3,000 ADA all the way to 4,700 ADA when we had this recent pump, and they haven't really announced anything too new as of recently, but they've been showing a lot of sneak peeks of their upgraded art, and I think a lot of the FUD has gone away from Spacebudz now. So there's potential when that art actually comes out and people are excited about it and they kind of wash away the past, that Spacebudz could go on a little bit of a run. Now, as far as different utilities, we have no idea what they're building, guys. We never know. But Alessandro recently came out with the Matrix berries. I took an L on it somehow, but they already made a totally different standard when it comes to NFTs, and it worked flawlessly. Like, your ADA doesn't even leave your wallet, guys, unless the transaction was successful, and it's completely decentralized by using the on-chain. So it's super, super cool how they did that. I'm bummed that I wasn't able to mint a piece of history, but we do know that came out recently, and maybe he has some plans on how to use that with other stuff in the Spacebudz ecosystem, or he just wanted to do something cool. But yeah, something to pay attention to. I don't own any Spacebudz right now because I always felt like I could, flip my way or swing trade my way to making more profits other than just holding on to this one Spacebud. But something to pay attention to. Maybe they're cooking something up. Next thing is Clay Nation. Now, Clay Nation, I'm bullish on right now. I actually do think this is undervalued, and I think it's simply because their Clay marketplace isn't out yet. If you watch my video, they were supposed to do the Clay marketplace in October. Unfortunately, it got delayed, and it should come out any time now. I'm still more bullish on the Clay token rather than holding these Clay Nations. But if this Clay marketplace comes out and you can use your Clay token to get your pants, to get your different accessories and items for your pitches, build that up, then everything in their ecosystem should do pretty well. The reason why I'm more bullish on the Clay token too right now is the whole entire zap they were doing was actually going to hurt how much this Clay token could run up, and because they pretty much officially canceled that because it would almost be like a private sale, it gives me a little bit more confidence on the token because they aren't just going to add in a bunch more supply soon. But yeah, I'm still holding on to all the token. I think I have like about 1.5 million Clay token, and I'm just holding that for now. Once that marketplace comes out, I might sell a little bit, take a little bit of profits out, especially if there's just so much stuff that you can buy. Hopefully this comes out in the next month, but things get delayed, and that's just how it goes. Next thing here is Lunatics, Quackheads. Now, I don't know why this is going on a pump right now. I went in their Discord and it didn't really look like any anything new was coming out. One of the reasons this project did well is they had a referral code for anyone that had the OG tag, where they would get, if you sent out that referral code, you would literally get 20 ADA for every single one of these minted. So what happened is you had some influencers in the space, I'm not going to name, they basically sported this as their PFP, and they probably made some money pumping their bags. I have no idea. Now, I haven't spent enough time in the Discord to actually see if this is going to be successful long term or how the community is coming about, but they do look pretty decent. And as far as utilities, they were talking about maybe some juice for mutations, and maybe you have these eggs and stuff like that. Usually I'm not super bullish on those concepts because it ends up diluting the main collection, but might be something to pay attention to. We'll see if they kind of have something cooking that not a lot of us know about. Next thing here is the Cornucopias land sale. Now, Cornucopias just recently bridged the token from BSC over into Cardano, so you can actually bridge that token. Now the price is kind of balanced out a little bit, but I'm sure some people had bridged early, and if they were lucky and the bridge went successful, they were able to basically buy on BSC for cheaper and sell on ADA. But regardless, the good news is they have this token over now. They have successfully done that bridge, and they said that their Cornucopias marketplace can now accept that Kopi token. So if they do some sort of holiday or seasonal drop and they do it all in Kopi token, it could be something pretty cool. They were also saying that their racing game is going to come out early next year, and as far as being able to make money from it, they have no idea yet. Another thing to pay attention to with Cornucopias is once the staking ends for these lands, for their Kopi token, they're going to open that up for the custom domes. So pretty interesting. They're building a lot of stuff. I had seen their whole entire setup at CNFT Con, and the game does look great. The Unreal Engine 5 really is unreal, and it's something to pay attention to. They've kind of been in their boring phase. I've just been holding a lot of Cornucopia stuff for a while now, and I'm not looking to necessarily buy more, but maybe there could be some sort of swing here, or maybe if you're just bullish long term, it might not be a bad time to get in, knowing that in the next 4 to 6 months, a lot of this stuff will probably start releasing. Next thing here is Chilled Kongs. Now, Chilled Kongs pretty much wasn't supposed to make this list. It, like, literally while I was making the video, it made the list. But there has been some activity just in the past hour or two, and they are now in that top 10 section. There's nothing new happening in their Discord. We still don't know when their mushroom airdrop is going to happen, but we do know that this is mostly an art project now, guys. It's mostly art, brand, community. When you go in their Discord, they were even talking about how they're worried on the legal side of things to have any sort of token or do anything like that. I do like how they're taking their time with things and trying to be structured that way, but it doesn't really seem like there's going to be much else with Chilled Kongs rather than that airdrop, which, who knows when this is going to happen at this point in time. Next thing here are the Blockowls. Now, Blockowls had actually gone on a run. It wasn't in the top 10, but the reason I wanted to cover it is because it went from like 300 ADA all the way to 515 ADA, and I actually think it went a little bit further than that. Now, Blockowls are releasing their Jabba Zs, which is going to be the enemies of the Blockowls, and that's going to happen hopefully sometime this year. I remember at CNFT Con, they said that it's probably going to be a higher mint amount, maybe 10,000 NFTs, but have a lower mint price of maybe 45 to 65 ADA. Now, if they're sticking with this, I have no idea, guys, but that was kind of the conversation that I had, if I'm remembering correctly, right? So pretty interesting stuff. I think some of these Blockowls are going to be used as whitelist, which is what they usually do, but there's still going to be a decent amount allocated to the public, and that's why they had wanted to do a larger collection size, so at least some of the supply could go to new people in the group. But yeah, they also have some other stuff that they're working on, such as a dashboard where you can collect these different Blockowls. Maybe once you collect some different things, you get some other things. Not all that information is out there or concrete yet, so I don't want to say anything and then they change their mind or, something basically changed. But yeah, something to pay attention to. I don't have any right now, but they do have a bunch of catalysts coming soon with that new mint. A lot of times things go up on the run up for that new mint, but it might have already had that run. I also think a lot of people are just starting to notice how cool Blockowls actually look. Next thing here is Mocossi. Now, Mocossi had actually joined a VC call on the Block Investment Group. Shout out to David for coming on. There was another guy, I can't remember his name right now, but shout out to you guys for coming on and just talking a little bit about what Mocossi is building. Now, Mocossi really reminds me of Clumsy Ghost, and if you guys watch my videos, you'll know that I like Clumsy Ghost, and I bought some Clumsy Ghost, but I do think Mocossi is a little bit further ahead. They already released their beta gameplay this past week, where you can actually go play these different mini games. You can make these different Mocossis happy. The happier they are, you can attach them to one of their Mocossi pieces of land, and then they're going to be able to get more resources. A lot of stuff happening with this. They're making a bunch of different games. They literally are run by a gaming company, one of the biggest gaming studios in Vietnam, I believe. So a lot of stuff happening with the project. I was really impressed when I had a call with them. I think I own like one Mocossi right now, nothing too crazy, but it's cool to see some of the different views and the different games that they have already been building with this. So shout out to them. Next thing here, C4 Poker Player Pass. I keep thinking it's Poker Pass, Player Pass. Cardano Crocs Club has finally come out with their poker platform, guys. And let me see. It's somewhere. Yeah, they finally come out with their poker platform, guys, where you can connect your wallet, earn C4, play for C4, and anyone can do this, right? Now, what's really cool is they actually came out with their poker player passes. I did it again, where you can actually earn a percentage of the revenues from this poker platform. So 30% of every single rake, guys, from every single hand is going to be split up between everyone that has these passes, as well as needing to own 8 Crocs. It can be Baby Crocs, Radioactive, the regular OGs. It can be any of them, but you have to own at least 8. Essentially, though, you're going to get a 30% rake from that. They were also saying that 30% of the revenues, whether they host tournaments or, etc., is also going to people that have these passes. They only minted for 150 ADA. If you were in the block group, you would know about this mint. A decent amount of us were actually able to get some of these passes in the public, and they have been going absolutely crazy. They were like 500 to 700 for a day or two, and now they're all the way up to 1400 ADA. Now, the whole bet on this is that their poker platform is successful. They did have a couple minor bugs that were mostly cosmetic, but it does seem pretty smooth so far. And if they're able to make their poker platform successful and have a lot of people use it, this could end up being, in the long term, a decent revenue stream on top of whatever else they add. They also came out with an updated white paper. They have their whole entire dashboard getting upgraded soon. So a lot of stuff happening with the project. I think their actual OG Crocs literally went from they were in the hundreds. They were in the hundreds, I think. And now all of a sudden they're 390. So they have been going on an absolute run. It's really hot right now, guys, because there's so much catalyst that all happen at the same time. So I'm kind of taking a step back, but I was able to be given one of these poker passes, which was really nice of the team. And I'm just going to hold that for the long term and, see how successful the platform ends up being. Next thing that I wanted to bring up here is Kabuki Tokyo. Now, these had minted maybe a month or two ago. I can't remember how much ADA they were, but they were definitely a lot less than 750, and they've gone on a run recently. One of the reasons is that they're actually starting a whole entire bar or a private club in Tokyo where you actually have to own one of these and you get access to go there, and it's all branded with their own design. So pretty cool stuff. The art is also really nice, and they recently announced that they're releasing their PFPs sometime in early December. I think it was December 5th, but don't quote me. This was the Genesis mint. This had released... This had released in October, so it wasn't too long ago, October 12th it looks like. But yeah, they also just announced their whole entire PFP mint. They do look really clean. This is definitely a team of artists. They have about 2,000 of them available, and these Genesis passes will give you access to the whitelist as well as a 20 ADA discount. And if you own 3 of the Genesis, you're actually able to get airdropped 1 for free. So pretty interesting stuff. I think that they can actually sell out in their whitelist, so I'm not sure how much we'll get to the public, but definitely a project to pay attention to. It seems like a lot of people are catching on to them, and I wish I had literally made a whole entire analysis of this project. I wish that I had actually gone through and minted it and just held it, because no one really was paying attention to the project. Next thing here, Derp Birds. Now, Derp Birds had gone on a massive run, and then they recently had a pullback down to about 800, and now they're back up to about 1,020. Now, Derp Birds have a lot of stuff they're doing, a lot of stuff they're building. They have a strong community. They're changing their art soon from Cosmos, from Pendulum, which is a really good artist. I've seen some of the previews of that. It looks really good. They have over 53 or 54 projects that have signed up for their staking system. They recently allowed the first 10 projects to go in, and basically they can earn derp tokens, do different raffles, stuff like that. They've also been teasing their season 3 here, which is all about fun, and I think this is kind of alluding to all the different mini games that they're creating within their ecosystem that are going to use derp token as the form of currency. So pretty interesting stuff. They still only have about 2% listed for these Derp Birds, which does show that their community is strong. Look, only 220 guys. I personally haven't gone in and bought any right now. Buying at 800 was probably a decent scoop. Could these continue to keep running? For sure. My only worry is you have the Derp Birds, you also have these Preds, then you also have their whole entire you have their eggs as well. You have their derp apes. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on in the ecosystem. So right now it's already like a super high market cap when you add everything together. So who knows how much more they're going to run, but definitely a project to pay attention to. And these guys are seriously building. Now, next thing here I wanted to bring up is a project that hasn't released yet, but is going to release in the near future, maybe in the next month or two. This project is called Stag Alliance, and I actually had them on a voice call just yesterday, and I really liked what they were saying. I think that the art looks pretty solid. I think their different ideas are solid. I think that they have a lot of ambitious plans. I'm excited to see how this does. There's a reason these portal passes are already going for 1,850. I don't necessarily recommend going out and buying these now until we get more details on how much their mint supply is going to be. Right now, they're talking to a bunch of different developers trying to basically analyze how much the cost is going to be for their project. And right now, I believe these standard portals only allow you to mint 1, and these magenta portals, I believe, allow you to mint 3. So if they end up having 10,000, and I don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And if they end up having 10,000 NFTs, for example, all of a sudden these portal passes aren't as big of a deal. So I wouldn't necessarily ape into these for now, but I wanted to bring up the project so you guys can have it on your radar. And when I do an upcoming CNFT mint video, it's definitely a project that I'm going to include on there. The last project that I wanted to bring up here, guys, is none other than Jellycubes by the Block Investment Group, because I know a lot of people watching have invested in this project. Now, it's kind of crazy, guys. About 3 months and 1 week ago, we launched for 200 ADA, and now 3 months and 1 week later, we're at 5,205 ADA, which is absolutely ridiculous. And I think it's just a testament to how strong this community is and all of the work that we have been putting in as a team to really provide value for the people that are part of the group. Now, as far as some additional updates of what's going on with Jellycubes, guys, we have announced our second mint date, and that is January 14th, where we will have the final Jellycubes going into circulation. Now, it's going to be 500 ADA to mint these Jellycubes, and it is going to be a 1-to-1 whitelist, so you need a Jellycube in order to mint a new Jellycube. If you have 5 Jellycubes, you can now mint 5 new Jellycubes when the time comes. Whatever supply is not sold, I'm actually going to be keeping, and we're going to be selling that and raffling it and auctioning it or giving it to certain individuals that we believe are going to benefit the overall group. I don't know how many aren't going to sell simply because it's a tenth of the mint. It's a tenth of the floor price. The mint price is a tenth of the floor price, but yeah, there might be some opportunities for people that aren't in now that we personally think would be a really great contribution to the group. As far as some other things that are going on, guys, our automatic lending platform should be out sometime in the next month, as well as our docs calendar, doxing service, and website redesign. We also have these cool little hero cubes that we're giving away to people that have completed the Jelly Quest. There's going to be more information really soon, but there are 15 of these hero cubes. They all have their own names, their own stories, their own backgrounds, and we're going to be building out the lore of Jellycubes and these hero cubes as to why they went on this dangerous, daring adventurer to basically fight this huge monster. We're going to have some different community events with that, and each week, if you haven't completed a quest, guys, you're still going to have a chance in order to get one of these hero cubes. One hero cube is going to go to the winner of every single community event we do for each of these, and we're also going to be raffling one of these off every every single week on the Mutants staking platform or the Mutants raffle platform. So pretty exciting stuff. A lot of things happening with the project, and just wanted to give a big thank you again for everyone that has been working hard on making this group successful. It hasn't just been my effort, but it's been everyone from the community. But yeah, that pretty much sums up this video, guys. That sums up this whole entire week. I love how a lot of these mints have been doing well, but just realize that liquidity is starting to slow down, and we could get to a point soon here, unless we get another volume push or unless crypto starts going on a run. We could get to the point where a lot of these mints start not doing well because a lot of people are just trying to quick flip them, and a lot of people are just trying to make money, and no one actually cares about some of those projects. And that's when you gotta be selective again. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up the video, guys, and I hope everyone here has an awesome day.